Yeah, we got put out that Airbnb, but she ain't ruined nothing.
That Airbnb host that kicked out that bride and her bridal party out of the Airbnb was 100% right.
An Airbnb host kicked out a bride out of an Airbnb on the bride's wedding day. Let's talk about it. Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So today's video is a video of Airbnb and guest story, a bride. So what happened was that this bride, it was a wedding and an Airbnb was booked. I don't know if it was her husband or her dad that booked the Airbnb on her behalf, but the Airbnb was booked. And on her wedding day, she and her bridal party and her bridesmaids were getting ready to go, they were getting ready for the wedding, and as they were getting ready for the wedding, the Airbnb host asked them to leave. So in this story, we're not getting full context initially, but after she posted the story, the bride, the makeup artist posted the story. I mean, the hairstylist was the one that posted that story on TikTok, and the video went viral. Everybody was talking about it, and I guess people were able to figure out who the Airbnb host is. Social media, they got on her, and the host decided to come and share her own side of the story of what happened and why she decided to kick out the bride on her wedding day out of her Airbnb, claiming that the bride broke a lot of rules and the bride was feeling some type of entitlement to her property. But anyway, guys, let's go check out this video that has gone viral. The host respond to the video, come to tell her side of the story, people's reaction, and then we'll come back and talk. And also, I would like to know what you would have done if you had to be the bride, or if you had to be the bride, what would you have done? And if you had to be the host, what would you have done? Because I feel like this is where we say two people can be right at the same time in this part of the story. But anyway, guys, let's go check out the video and then we'll come back and talk more.
Bridal party getting put out of Airbnb on wedding day.
What?
It's fucking ridiculous. If the bride came to get her hair and makeup done and we have to be at the venue, what? We have 2 hours? Where we gonna go for 2 hours? We in the middle of nowhere.
Literally in the middle of fucking nowhere.
She had 7 people.
It
doesn't even matter. We're not having a house party. We're doing our hair for a wedding. Like,
Yo.
Yeah, we got put out that Airbnb, but she ain't ruined nothing. So I'm gonna give y'all a story time. Let's start from the beginning for the slow people in the back. Okay. I'm from Louisiana. I was hired to do a wedding in Montgomery, Texas. I don't know anything about Montgomery, Texas. I do know it looked a little weird when I was looking up Airbnbs and hotels, so I chose to stay in Spring, Texas. I want to say it took us about 45 minutes to drive there, so we were not there long at all. I set up my stuff. I curled up 2 people. However, I did have 10 people to do, so the bride had her own stylist. We also could not get in the venue until 12. So when the bride's stylist arrived, that took us over the limit of 6 people. At that point, the host was actually contacted and we were like, hey, we're going to have an overlap. You know, it's going to be a 7th person here only for about 10 minutes, but 3 people are about to go. She then said we had to go. We could not stay there. She does not allow that many people. So now the bride is like, okay, everyone can leave now. Can I just stay? Because her stylist was outside. The host then says you have 30 minutes to leave or I'll call the sheriff's office. At that point, we're like, whoa, this escalated quickly. Why would you weaponize the police? Y'all, it was literally 9 a.m. We were so quiet. It was so I just peaceful. Don't understand why you would put a bride out and we're basically begging. Wow. We do understand though that rules are rules, so we just peacefully left. We did lose hours that we needed in getting ready, but hey, everything worked out. The bride was pleased. She was beautiful. The bridesmaids were beautiful. The venue was beautiful. The enemy was just busy. The mother of the bride did contact Airbnb and she is getting a full refund, and I believe the host page is down.
Trust tyranny. Period. Hi, my name is Reina Tart. I'm a real estate agent and I also own Airbnbs and I do this for a living. I'm the one that actually went viral on TikTok regarding about kicking out a bride. So I'm here to tell my story because I think it's really, really important for everybody to know, because I've been being harassed like nonstop, and I don't think that's right because, as you know, people only react on what they see. So I think it's better to tell my story. I've got a booking that was booked by a man, checking in on September 12th. And on the booking, it shows only 2 people in there. And, you know, as a host, I would like to communicate with my guests prior to them coming over, just to give them a reminder about how to check in. So on September the 12th, before check-in, I sent a message to the male booker and send him the information on how to check in. And I also tried to confirmed also on my message that I saw that there's only 2 of you and we are so excited to host both of you. And then I got a message from a woman, which is the guest, saying thank you. I said, okay, everything's okay. So that's the 12th.
Wow.
The check-in time is at 3:00 p.m. The second day, which is September the 13th, I got a message from the female guest telling me, letting me know that there's gonna be people coming over and there's gonna be a lot of cars, and she just want to make sure that I'm aware because it's her wedding day. And this is new to me. I didn't know there's going to be a wedding or she's going to be a bride. She never communicated to me regarding about wedding. So she said that her guest needed a place to stay because the wedding venue is not open until before 12 o'clock. And I was thinking like, why you just told me about this? You know, if this is your big day, and you planned for this for a while, and you've been communicating with the wedding venue, you should know that their check-in time is not before 12. But apparently, what I gathered is that I think she booked the property for, you know, the wedding party, which I wasn't aware of. And, you know, we do have, requirements, right, for our guests. Because as a host, we created our own house rules. So one of the house rules is that I do need all the IDs from all the people that's actually staying on our property. Either they stay there, hang out, or stay there overnight or sleep overnight. I do need to have those IDs. This is my home. It's very special to me. This is personal. I just want to make sure who are those people coming in. And I never got that. And the second thing is that one of the other rule that we have is we only allowed 3 cars that can be parked in our property, and there is no street parking. There's 6 cars, and there's cars parked outside. So that's actually broken the rule. You have to understand, you know, this is all about respect. You know, if you're going to somebody's property, you need to communicate. I have no problem. You know, if she communicated with me and letting me know about the bridal party, how could I kick her out? Ask her, how many people do you have? I even asked her, do you need place? I can find some place for them to stay. And I even suggested Margaritaville, and she said, no, they're not going to be going in there. And then after that, there's other rules that she actually broke. So in this case, I cannot make my own decision. I do have to call Airbnb, and I got Airbnb involved. Because the way that she presented it to me, she's not asking me permission. She's telling me what she's going to do. And that's the reason why I called Airbnb and told them about the rules that she actually broke. I've never communicated with a male booker. And then when I told her that you need to follow the policies and the rules, and she said, oh, I don't know how to tell my dad. Now it made me think like, oh, okay, maybe the male booker is her dad, or maybe her fiance. I don't know. And the thing is that if you have 6 cars in the parking lot, how many people do you think inside the house? We can't see inside the house. We don't have cameras. You know, we give our guests privacy. I didn't even know that she has cars and, you know, she got people in there until she messaged me. And then I tried to communicate with her about the policies, and it seems like she's trying to prove her point, and I can't go further with her. So when I called Airbnb, of course, Airbnb wanted to get all the information. Okay, they have to evaluate the host and they have to evaluate the guest. So Airbnb did their thing. Unfortunately, Airbnb was not able to get hold of this female guest because I believe she's not answering their call. So Airbnb contacted me back, and I told Airbnb and I said, hey, how can I move forward on this one? Because I am not comfortable anymore of them staying in there, because really, I don't know how many people inside the house. She's not telling me how many people inside the house. So I told Airbnb, said, well, Reina, what do you think you would feel like doing? And I said, well, maybe I can call a cop. And of course, Airbnb can't really tell us what to do. So I told Airbnb like, hey, if I call a cop, that would be okay. And Airbnb said, so whatever is you're comfortable doing, you can absolutely do that because it's your property. So I messaged the female guest, and I told her, and I said, hey, I want you to vacate the property. I'll give you 30 minutes. And if you don't, I will call the cop, which I never did. Okay. No, I never called the cop, and I don't have a brother cop. Okay. So when I sent that information, she sent me a really, really, nasty text or messages. And I knew I can't, no, I'm not comfortable, okay? So this is my property and I'm not comfortable with it. If she is not willing to be honest with me, I don't respect that. So what happened was that I did not hear back from her. And I said, oh, okay, well, maybe Airbnb is still, communicating with them. As a host, we cannot, cancel somebody's reservation. You really have to go through Airbnb, and Airbnb will assist you in doing it. So when Airbnb said the cancellation, the reservation is already canceled because they have all the proof that the guests are breaking a lot of rules, house rules. So Airbnb made the decision that they can actually, cancel the reservation. And then after that, never heard from them. I said, oh, okay, well, hopefully, they get it. We never called a cop. I got a tag on TikTok, and the tag is them showing their experience on my Airbnb. And after that, I realized, oh, okay, maybe they're gone already because, it shows on TikTok that they're actually living. I said, okay, so I went and, checked the Airbnb. And next thing I know, my phone is blowing up on Airbnb app, telling me I'm a racist, telling me this, telling me that, nasty messages. And that went on the whole day and the whole night until today. Today is the 14th, okay? I'm still getting a lot of messages. And after that, people are messaging my social media, nasty, being a racist, okay? I get calls, I get emails. So basically, all of that. I understand, a lot of negative comments because people only saw a one-sided story. If they just know the whole story, then maybe they will react differently. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. This is my story. So the takeaway of this story is that the guest violated a lot of rules. As a host, we have rules. And on our listing, it says that if you violate these rules, then your reservation might be canceled. But you should have planned that properly. Please be honest to your host, because as a host, we understand.
That Airbnb host that kicked out that bride and her bridal party out of the Airbnb was 100% right. I heard both sides of the story, and I agree with the Airbnb host, because if you book for 2, which the lady did, and then you happen to bring 6 in, would have been fine. You happen to bring 7 in, that's not the rules. And the part that people are missing is the part of entitlement. A lot of people these days feel entitled. Just because I'm having a wedding, just because I have a special event, I should be able to do this. No. I'm sure it would be a different circumstance if the lady booked for 6 because the maximum capacity was 6, but she didn't want to pay for 6 guests. Let's clock it. If she paid for 6 and then said to the host, by the way, there's 1 extra person coming just for like a 10-minute overlap while the 6th person leaves. So it's going to be 7 in the house for 10 minutes. I guarantee you the host would have been like, that's fine, no problem. If you book for 2, knowing that you have a wedding, knowing that people are getting ready at the Airbnb, you are wrong because you did not book for the amount of people that you should have. And every bride knows the time that you're supposed to check into your venue. So if the venue check-in time was 12 and you need to get ready before that, why would you book an Airbnb of just 2 people? That makes no sense. You were trying to cut corners and then say to the Airbnb host, oh, because I'm the bride and it's my wedding day, you should just accommodate me. She doesn't have to. She really doesn't have to. You didn't follow the rules at all. If she says only 3 people are allowed to park in the driveway and you had more than 3 cars, that's a real break. If they say don't park on the road and you're parking on the road, you're breaking the rules. If they say it's up to 6 guests, mind you, she would probably have to go back and charge your card for 6 guests. You did not automatically say from the beginning when you first booked that there were 6 guests. Honestly, this is just about entitlement, and a lot of people feel entitled and think that they can just do whatever. And I'm also that type of person where it's just like, I'm not going to allow you to do whatever because you're demanding. And that's what the Airbnb host said. She was demanding, expecting that I just have to bend the rules for her. It doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, consideration goes a long way. And yes, the Airbnb host could have allowed her, but she didn't have to, because she probably felt that you knew the venue didn't open till 12. You knew you were going to have a lot of people in my house, and you didn't even tell me from the beginning when you first booked. You're being sneaky. Bye. Get the hell out the house. I don't blame her. And to be honest, as someone that travels often, that's why I don't book Airbnb, because there is so many rules that you have to abide by. Same thing happens to me. I remember it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I booked the Airbnb. I said it was for 2 people. We ended up having 5 people in there, and the guy got upset and charged my card. I ended up going into a dispute with Airbnb, but I didn't even argue with him. I understood where he was coming from because I broke the rules.
I'm gonna be so real. I don't feel like that Airbnb host was wrong for what she said. You planned for weeks that this was going to be your wedding. You knew where your wedding venue was going to be, and you knew that the wedding venue was only 15 minutes away from the Airbnb. If you felt like there was going to be problems with you or your guests getting ready at the Airbnb, or at the venue for the wedding, then you should have corresponded that with the Airbnb once you booked. Because at the end of the day, they're entitled to their own rules and regulations. Let's keep it a bean, y'all. It's this girl named Raina, or this lady named Raina, I should say. She runs an Airbnb business. She happens to have an Airbnb literally across the street from her house. This lady had mad rules. I'm gonna be so honest. I feel like it was uncalled for all them ridiculous ass rules. I'm gonna be so but rules is rules, and you gotta follow that shit every now and then. She was basically trying to tell the girl, like, you could have just, corresponded this with me. Like, the rule was only 2 guests, like, or if you have more guests, then, to let her know ahead of time. You didn't let her know nothing. My bad, y'all. I had to change locations. I'm at work. But in other words, I'm gonna still be non-biased with everything I say. I feel like that lady definitely could have let her stay there. Let's just be real about it. It was her wedding. Whether she communicated that with you or not, it's still her wedding day. You could have been like, you know what? These are the rules, but I'm going to just accommodate you, because that's what it is about being an Airbnb host. You got to accommodate your guests at the end of the day. So tell me how y'all feel about that shit in the comments. I really feel like it's crazy at the end of the day, but hey.
Rules that she actually broke. So in this case,
now hold on now. 2 + 2 ain't equaling 4 in your story. So let's really talk about it. She broke other rules, many at that, a plethora of rules. Yet you didn't show what rule she broke. That's weird. 2, you said she wasn't communicating with you, and then you post the text message of her communicating that she has extra guests and she's apologizing for the inconvenience. Then you say, I didn't know it was her wedding day or wedding party, whatever the hell going on. I don't want to kick her out, but yet you ended up kicking her out anyway. So did you not want to kick her out, or did you want to kick her out? I think you wanted to kick her out. I think you wanted a reason to kick her out. And then here's the real thing that makes me question the validity of your story. You said she sent you a nasty text message, but you was posting all these other text messages. Why you ain't post that one? One that could really prove your point as truth. Because honestly, that little detail right there is questioning the validity of the story that you're telling. And it's further proving that I think you just wanted a reason for her to be up out your house. Period. And you wasn't trying to be a petty bitch about it, because the way she had them cars parked, she had them hoes 2 by 2, not on road in the driveway. So I think you were looking for a very petty ass reason to kick her out, and you found it, and you got it, and you did just that. Tell the whole story, baby. And if you are going to tell the whole story, post the text message of her being rude. Please, please, please.
Okay, so I just watched the apology video. I watched the video of the bride with the Airbnb debacle. I just watched everything that I could find, honey, so that I'm like, okay, maybe I can make my response video, my opinion video, better. And before I even get into what I think, honestly, because it doesn't matter now, the day's done, the bride looked beautiful. She was able to, still be able to do what she needed to do. a lot of people don't like Airbnbs for this reason. A lot of these Airbnbs, they look beautiful, but they are totally ran by people who are control freaks. And again, it's their property. And I understand that Airbnb hosts go through a lot of things, people trashing their properties. It's so much. By the time you deal with all that, you might as well stay in a hotel. That is just, for some reason, I always feel like a hotel is cleaner, and maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. I always did like a Hilton, maybe an IHG, but these Airbnbs, a lot of the times they're just so strict. It's almost like, why do you even have this property listed for people to rent? I saw her response video, and she did say, how many people are going to be here. I think trying to see how this could have been avoided, because she could have just not said anything. But again, with these type of properties, and then again, also being Black, that doesn't help. And I'm not going to say this lady is a racist, but a lot of times I do feel like these people have racial biases. So things that they probably would have let slide had it been anybody else, because they were Black women. Unfortunately, we do not get that pass. And I do feel like this was really, really sad to do this on somebody's wedding day. And again, the lady said she didn't know, but it's also like, ma'am, you don't have to know that it's my wedding day for you to show some grace. And again, like, it's her property, so she's well within her right, well within her right to do so. But again, I think it's just a pick and choose. So this is hard. Again, when it's your property, you're able to run things how you see fit, but also you can't control the narrative that people think that this has something to do with some sort of racial bias, because I just don't think it's that deep. Unless they were just hard down having a party, I don't see, I don't see that. And of course, she's like, they only says 2 people on Airbnb. Of course, I'm not going to put 10 people on this Airbnb. It's just weird. But again, lesson learned. I definitely feel like now people should be going back to hotels. They cost just as much as the Airbnbs. These Airbnbs are beautiful, but I always feel like I'm being watched in them. I don't know. And then you have to clean up I don't know. But a bride did look amazing. And like I said, it's really hard to even try to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But definitely sticking back to the hotels, because at the hotels, I've been at hotels where they have people come up or whatever, 6, 7 people in a hotel room. Nobody cares as long as you're not noisy. Yeah. So I don't know. It felt like a control thing.
Okay. I want you guys to let me know what you guys think about this video. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Airbnb host was wrong? Or you think that the bride was wrong for not informing the Airbnb host about the bridal party going on? Go down in the comment section and share your thought. But please, as always, please keep it respectful. You're on this channel. We're allowed to disagree, but we'll do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead, feel free, share your thought. Love to know what you guys think. First off, I personally have had a horrible experience with Airbnb, which that's a story for another day. Hold on. Which that's a story for another day. I'm going to tell you guys, but I've had a terrible Airbnb experience. And one thing I want to say about this story is really crazy, because I personally use a lot of Airbnb. When I travel, I use Airbnb. I like it. Especially when I'm going to stay a longer period, I like it because it now feels like home. But also, when I'm speaking about myself at this point, when I want to stay on Airbnb, or I just feel like if I'm booking an Airbnb and I want to make it feel homely, I don't really have to tell you all the nitty-gritty of everything. But also, there's some hosts on Airbnb that low-key put some guidelines, some rules, and I feel like as a Airbnb user, do your research, read those fine lines. I made that mistake to myself where I got scammed about $1,000 by an Airbnb host. I made that mistake myself. If you guys want the story time, you guys let me know. I'll do the story time. But I made that mistake not reading the fine print, and sometimes some of them can use that against you and just even scam you literally. And Airbnb will tell you their hands are tied, because they'll bring out what's on their fine print to tell you, oh, this was the rule, you didn't follow it, and that's it. So I feel like the lady should have just been honest on the get-go, and just what, we're 2 at the moment, but eventually they're going to be more, especially in certain type of Airbnb, especially when they are very precise about the numbers of people that they have there. Just go ahead and tell them the number of people that are coming, because a lot of the time, most of them, at least the Airbnb state, they usually have cameras at the entrance of the door. So some of them are going to watch you and count the number of people. So if on the fine print they already wrote the number of people they want in the house, like it should not be more than that, then you should know that this is an Airbnb that has an issue with certain number of people in their property. So go ahead and just tell them upfront. But do I think what the host did, the host was, she has every right to do what she did because one, it's her property. And like she said, she didn't like the tone the woman was talking to her, like, oh, she felt like the woman was telling her not, but which the text message seems like she was like pleading, like, but it's how she received it and all that. She has every right to do whatever she wants to do. It's her property. But also, she could have just given her the grace. She could have just given her the grace, the fact that it is her wedding. Because where do you think that she was going to be able to sort herself out at that dying minute when barely a couple of hours to her wedding? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, sometimes as humans, we just need to have human heart and just think about, yes, this person is wrong, but think about, like, okay, you people do get, but you can't stay anymore. That is it. Da, da, da. Just go out for it. And I do understand, we've seen videos on social media where people go to Airbnb and trash the Airbnb, but it is a wedding and she has already communicated that with you already. You could have just let it slide, honestly. I just feel like as humans, sometimes we can be so difficult to ourselves that the essence of being a human being in a community is just lost. It's a wedding day. They're already getting dressed. Makeup and hair is already been done. But you still kick that out. Like, and I understand it's a right. And I would say the guest should have probably just be upfront and be honest and just tell her what the deal was going on, especially when it's not a regular Airbnb stay. Go ahead and just tell them, oh, I'm having a birthday party, I'm having a birthday, I'm having a bridal shower. I feel like just go ahead. For me, it's the respect you have for the person's home and all that. I've stayed a couple of homes and I just treat it with a lot of respect, because if I'm an Airbnb host, I will expect my guests to take care of my home, to be respectful about my home and my home rules. So I feel like the bride was wrong not telling the Airbnb host ahead of time what their intention, what was really going on, especially when it's not a regular stay. But also the Airbnb host was wrong. Not wrong, like she was not being a very understanding human being, kicking her out in the middle of getting ready for her wedding. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about this story down in the comment section. What would you have done if you were the Airbnb host, and what would you have done different if you were the guest? Go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. But please, as always, keep it respectful here on this channel. We're allowed to disagree, but do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead and share your thoughts. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Deuces.